Hi guys, Reagan here. Welcome to Twisted States, where we take a look, week by week, at some of America's most nefarious killers, elusive cryptids, and bizarre mysteries. Whew, a little tongue-tied today. Anyway, we are on week 13, and this week we are headed to Colorado. Colorado was admitted to the Union August 1st, 1876, which makes it the 38th state to join the Union. The capital of Colorado is Denver. The highest elevation is 14,440 feet. Lowest elevation is 3,317 feet. So today we are going to be talking about Alferd Gene Packer, aka the Colorado Cannibal. So Alferd Gene Packer was born in 1842 in Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, to James and Esther Packer. He was one of three children. He didn't have a very good family life. But when he was like 20, he moved to Minnesota and joined the military. Sadly, he didn't last very long in the military. He lasted about 8 months, and then he was given an honorable medical discharge because he had epilepsy, and that excluded him from being able to be part of the military. He ended up going to Iowa after being discharged from the military and joining once again. In June 1863, 1 year later, he was discharged again for the same reason. After being rejected from the military, he really had a lot of an attitude with everybody, and he was not a happy camper, and he really kind of turned into a bit of a jerk. He just, at that point, he was really disillusioned. He was trying to survive. He didn't choose to have epilepsy. He didn't choose to have to deal with this disability. But it was, what it was, and it was what he had to deal with. So he didn't take that too well, and he just really kind of took it out on everybody around him. He didn't stay at jobs long. He had tons of short-term employment, a lot of jobs he would get, and either because of his seizures or his attitude or a combination of both, or the fact that he was stealing from people. I mean, there was a lot of different reasons why he wouldn't stay somewhere. Things wouldn't go well. So he decided that he was going to go to Colorado and become a miner. Word came that gold was struck in Breckenridge, and he decided, you know what? That's it. I'm going to Breckenridge. This is what I'm going to do. This is my life's calling at this point. He's going to go and he's going to be a miner, and he's going to, find all the gold and do well and whatever. And then, just follow the money. I mean, because if nothing else, right? I mean, at least there's some kind of opportunity there. There's all this gold being found, and so there's people with money, and, just kind of follow the money and go with that, right? So he joined 20 other miners that were headed to Breckenridge. And here's this guy. He's got nothing. He's got no provisions of any kind. He's got the shirt on his back. Like, he is not in any way prepared whatsoever to head down the Mormon Trail and head toward Breckenridge to the goal. Like, there's just no, he's not in any way, shape, or form prepared for such a trip. Like, just no. So, of course, now he's got to do some fast talking. He just starts saying words, stream of consciousness in any direction that might get him on this expedition to Breckenridge. He knows that nobody else there knows their way where they're going. None of them are familiar with the territory of the area. They're all, from all over the place, just they're chasing the gold. So he speaks up and says, "Hey, I'm a trail guide. I'm a guide. I can do this. I can get us there. I might not have provisions or whatever, but I can make up for my lack of preparedness as far as all that goes by, I'll pay my way by getting us there, by making sure that we make it there. Because I know this area like the back of my hand. I got this. You guys are in capable hands with me. It's not going to be a problem. It's good to go. I'll get you there. Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter that I don't have a lot of provisions. I'm such a good guide, and I know my way around so well. We're just going to breeze right through this. Everything's going to be fine." Obviously, that was not the case. He indeed had tried being a wilderness guide in the past. It didn't go so well. He kind of maybe just was terrible at navigation, and not only did he have a hard time because he was constantly getting lost, but he also was extremely lazy and annoying on top of that. And he had epilepsy, which, hindered his ability to perform that job. But these people didn't know that. They didn't know what they were dealing with until it was too late. So they head out. He's leading them out into this ridiculous, boundless wilderness. And by January, they're lost. They're completely lost. They are running low on supplies. They have no idea how they're going to get out of this situation. They are flying by the seat of their pants. And they come up on a winter camp. The Utes had a winter camp there. And Chief Ori was like, yeah, you guys, this is a bad time to try to traverse this area. We've got big storms coming in. It's winter. Like, you're not going to make it. You're not going to survive. As soon as the snow melts, everything thaws out, you'll be fine. Clear passage. But until then, you're better off to just stay here where it's safe. I don't want to see you guys go out and whatever, So some stayed, but some were restless because they wanted to get where that gold was. They wanted to get there before it was all gone. There were boundless, fortune awaited them. They did not want to wait. The chief said, that's fine. But if you're going to go, make sure that you stick to the Mormon trail. So he gave them some extra provisions. And he said, go ahead and do your thing. Well, of course, Packer couldn't have that. He decided that they were going to deviate from that path, and they were going to go through the San Juan Mountains to get there. Oh, I know a shortcut. Let's go this way. It'll be fine. It'll get us there faster. It'll be easier. Well, it wasn't easier. It was a harder pass to pass. He was only able to convince 5 of the 20 men to actually follow him the way that he was going. Those 5 men were Shannon Bell, James Humphrey, Frank Miller, Israel Swan, and George California Noon. Things go really bad. 2 months later, here's Packer cruising around. He showed up at the Los Pinos Indian Agency, claimed that he was abandoned, claimed that the group of men that he was with, the 5 men that he headed out with, couldn't handle him and thought he was a pain in the ass and gave him a rifle and left him there. They said, hey, you know what? Bro, you're too much. We can't take you. You're just going to have to fend for yourself. You know what? Here's a gun. Well, the tale he told was one of desolation, isolation, fear, being abandoned out in the wilderness during a snowstorm. Here's this big blizzard. He's on his own. He's, nothing but a rifle. But he doesn't look like he's been going without anything. He's fat and sassy. He's doing quite well. He goes to the nearby town of Saguash and he rents a room. Now he's throwing money around like there's no tomorrow. He's going to the saloon, spending like $100, which is like $2,500 in today's money. Just partying it up, having a good time, offering to loan people money. He's got all this wealth all of a sudden. This guy that didn't even have enough provisions that they weren't even going to let go with him. Every time Packer told the story, he told it different. He never told the same story twice. So he's going along and he's, giving all these different versions of the story. One of the men, Preston Nutter, noticed Miller's hunting knife on Packer. And he knew that that was a very sentimental item and that there was no way that he gave him his knife or left him, there was no way that man was still alive and his knife wasn't with him. Everybody in the town got talking. A lot of people were expressing their worries because none of these other guys showed up. And here he is throwing all this money around and carrying around personal items of these people that he was in this caravan with. Obviously something's up. So they go to the authorities. He's arrested. As soon as he's arrested, he says, "Oh, yeah, they're dead." And then he tells this crazy story. Basically, his story was that Swan and Humphreys had succumbed to the elements, starved to death, whatever. Bell killed the other two and then went after him. And he ended up having to shoot Bell. So that was his story. And everybody's like, yeah, okay. While he was awaiting trial, he escaped. He spent 8 years on the run and ended up being recognized in a saloon in Cheyenne, Wyoming in 1883. And that was the point where he was rearrested and had to go and go on trial. So still depending on this story that he cooked up about Bell being the one that did all these horrendous things and him just taking their things with him because they didn't need him anymore. They didn't need their money. They didn't need their weapons or whatever because they were dead. And then of course having to survive on cannibalism because there wasn't anything else there to eat because there were no supplies. He went to trial and he did not understand why people didn't understand that he wasn't a criminal because emergency cannibalism still to this day is not considered illegal. That was his story. That was his alibi, his excuse, his reasoning. A jury found him guilty April 13th of 1883 of murdering all 5 of his party members and of premeditated murder in at least one case. But the problem with that is the time frame. In 1874, a law was passed saying that there's no death sentence for out-of-state crimes. Colorado wasn't a state yet when he committed those crimes. So it was a loophole that kept him from the death penalty. They did get him for 5 counts of manslaughter and gave him a cumulative 40 years in prison. After 18 years in jail, he was paroled and he walked out a free man. He lived another 6 years before he finally passed away. They say that he became a vegetarian. Who knows if that's true, but I thought that was fascinating. In 1989, they actually went out and chased down the location of the remains of the other men and excavated the site. Shannon Bell had been shot. All 5 men had been eaten. Like their meat was butchered from their body after his death in 1907. Colorado kind of turned him into this weird hero. It's really strange. There have been books and comics. There's been a comedy musical written by the creators of South Park. I thought that was fascinating. Cannibal musical. Yeah, that's a college project they did before South Park came out. And in 1968, the University of Colorado named their restaurant Alferd Packer Memorial Grill, which they later changed to Alferd Packer Restaurant, despite the heinous crimes that he most likely committed. He's kind of a local hero. It's become kind of, silly and campy and just this weird, goofy thing. These poor people lost their lives. I mean, and there was a lot of that kind of stuff going on, I guess, at that time. Bottom line, Shannon Bell, James Humphrey, Frank Miller, Israel Swan, and George California Noon lost their lives and were eaten and robbed. Nobody really knows what exactly happened. Who knows? But looking at the big picture, I think we all pretty much have a good idea. Who knows? All I know is I'm going to be real picky and choosy about who I go camping and hiking with in the wilderness. And I'm not going anywhere during the cold months ever again. But there you have it. There's week 13 of Twisted States. Please check me out on Instagram at Twisted States. And you can listen to this podcast anywhere. I also upload these to YouTube. If you want to see my ugly mug, you can check them out over there. I'm out of here. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for hanging out, listening. I appreciate you. Please check me out on YouTube. Check out twistedstates.com. Wow, no words. And on Instagram at Twisted States. And if you have any questions or talk to me or give me some ideas, suggestions, whatever, all that stuff, message me over on Instagram. It's the easiest way to get a hold of me. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.